Proud to broadcast high school athletics
online
from Portland's West Side.
We are West Side Mobile Media,
Banks, Oregon.
Banks Braves High School Athletics on Westside Mobile Media, presented by Jason Bond Remodeling. Also brought to you by these fine sponsors: Jim's Market, Sarah Hesselman Keller Williams Realty, Wana Credit Union, Banks Post Newspaper, Econo Fab Pole Buildings, GorgeNet Internet Service, Christy Van Meter at Caliber Home Loans, LaHaye's Custom Embroidery, Main Street Pizza, Oregon National Guard, Scoggins Creek Coffee, and Specialty Screen Printing. Now here's the play-by-play voice of Westside Mobile Media, Trevor Beard, alongside color analyst Jonathan Lee.
Welcome to this broadcast of an OSAA On Point Community Credit Union State Championship event. Serving more than 480,000 members, On Point Community Credit Union is the largest locally headquartered credit union and the proud title sponsor of OSAA State Championships. Your local Toyota dealers are proud to support the OSAA. Visit Toyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. The OSAA Radio Network is presented by Pacific Office Automation. Problem solved.
Good evening and welcome to tonight's OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championship first round matchup between the Douglas Trojans of Winston, just south of Roseburg, fourth place finishers in the Far West League with a record of 11 wins and 12 losses overall, and the Banks Braves, tonight's host team, the champions of the Coastal Range League. Good evening, everybody. My name is Trevor Beard. I'm broadcaster of Westside High School Athletics, mainly Banks High School, but occasionally do other area high schools as well. The Banks Braves, they started the season winners of 4 in a row, and since that time, lost 3 out of their next 4, and since then have won 11 out of 14 matches, with a record of 16-6, hoping for a repeat of what they did in our first year broadcasting high school. Banks High School Athletics winning the 4A state title in 2015 over Sisters. Ironically enough, Sisters, the number 1 seed, again, heading into this year's playoffs. Banks a chance to meet up with Sisters again in the state tournament, this year being held at Springfield High School just east of Eugene next Friday and Saturday. We will not be there, we know that for sure, but the Banks Lady Braves are 2 wins away from a trip there with a win tonight, and then would head to 3-seed Santiam Christian just north of Corvallis, home to Oregon State University on Saturday with a win tonight. If the Braves lose, we will be at Valley Catholic for Yamhill Carlton, the third place finisher out of the Coastal Range League, at Lewis and Clark, number 1 seed, Valley Catholic of Beaverton. Taking a look quickly at the rosters for both teams. First, for the visiting Douglas Trojans of Winston, we do not have positions, only year and name and number. Number 1, Ciala Palamalu, a sophomore. Number 2, Corey Boyd, a senior. Number 3, Cambry Lee, a junior. Number 4, Cadence Kniebel, a freshman. Number 5, Serena Mandera, also a freshman. Number 6, Samantha Perrin, a junior. Number 7, Lily Winters, a sophomore. Number 8, Jasmine Gunderson, a junior. Number 9, Samantha Crozier, one of 2 seniors on this Trojans roster. Number 10, Maddie Walker, a freshman. Strangely enough, Banks, one of their leading offensive players, Madison Walker, went by Maddie growing up, but prefers Madison now. Madison, a senior for the Banks Braves. Number 12, a junior, Brooklyn Wilson, and number 13, Caitlin Tabor, a freshman. We'll go ahead and take a 1-minute break to try to get you some OSAA sponsors in, as we want to try to get as many of our local sponsors in as well tonight. We'll be back in 1 minute. This is the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round between the Banks Braves and the Douglas Trojans. We'll be back in 1 minute.
What's stopping you from going to school and learning new things? Or buying an old car to make it new again? Do you dream about building a business, exploring new places, or even buying your very first home? Whatever you're trying to do, On Point Community Credit Union can help you do it. With low-interest loans, credit cards, business banking, and more. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
For over 45 years.
What?
For over 45 years, Pacific Office Automation has been solving problems for business owners. However, the needs of our customers and potential customers have changed dramatically over the years, so we've changed too. If you run a business and want to find out how Pacific Office Automation can help improve your business processes and costs, call us today to request a free workflow audit. Whether it's managed print services, IT services, or data security, we're here to help. PacificOffice.com. Problem solved.
And we're back. Good evening once again to the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball first round matchup between the Banks Braves and the Douglas Trojans. Stay connected to your favorite team with the OSAA Live mobile app. OSAA Live features the latest scores, schedules, and rankings for all teams and leagues across Oregon. Access OSAA state championship programs. Read the latest prep news and information. Search OSAA Live in the App Store or on Google Play to download today. And today, or this evening's matchup, the Banks Braves, the champions of the Northwest region of 3A Athletics, the Coastal Range League, hosting the fourth place finishers out of the Southern Oregon region, the Far West League. The roster tonight for the Banks Braves: number 1, Taylor Van Aken, a very, very senior-laden roster. Taylor, a 5'6" right side hitter. Number 2, Haley Evans, 5'8" senior setter. Number 3, Katie Rains, 5'2" senior defensive specialist. Number 4, Jocelyn Janisek, 5'7" outside hitter. Number 5, Jordan Maller, 5'8" sophomore outside hitter. Number 6, McKenna King, 5'9" sophomore right side hitter. Number 7, 5'4" junior defensive specialist. Ava Bogroff has been injured most of the season. Number 8, Marissa Herbert, a 5'2" junior defensive specialist. Number 9, Alex Saunders, 5'9", senior. Number 10, Madison Walker, a 5'11", senior middle blocker. Number 11, Chesney Lovelady, a 5'6", senior outside hitter. Number 12, Morgan McCraw, a 5'4", freshman defensive specialist. Number 14, Kendall Shook, a 5'3", freshman defensive specialist. And that is your roster for the Banks Braves. We'll go ahead and take another 1-minute break, get you a couple of local sponsors in. We'll be back in 1 minute after this from Jason Bond Remodeling. Want to give your kitchen or bath a fresh new look? Jason Bond Remodeling has over 20 years experience fabricating and installing stone countertops and can upgrade your home with the countertops of your dreams without the dreamy price tag. They pride themselves on quality and customer satisfaction. They also offer cabinet installation and will do their best to beat any bid by 10%. Based in Washington County and will service most Portland area locations. For quality kitchen and bath remodels, call Jason Bond Remodeling at 503-430-0145.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimate CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
Jim's Market in Banks is an institution serving the community for generations. They're actively involved in events and athletics from the youth league to high school level. Let them serve you with their locally grown fresh produce, fresh bakery items, including custom cakes, and quick hot food from their in-store deli. Jim's Market, conveniently located at the south entrance to Banks.
And we're back just about 4 minutes before we switch over to the public address side and introduce the rosters for both teams and tonight's sportsmanship address. Banks Lady Braves got here by virtue of finishing in a first place tie with Corbett to finish the regular season. Corbett was the hot team to start league play and through most of the season up until the final 2 weeks or so, and then they lost to Banks on senior night, getting swept, which put Banks and Corbett in a first place tie, headed into the final match of the season last Wednesday. Banks swept Rainier on the road, and Corbett held on at home to beat Warrenton 3-2. Both teams finished the regular season tied at 10-2. However, Banks and Corbett played a neutral site tiebreaker for the #1 seed to state out of the Coastal Range League, and Banks swept Corbett again at Gladstone High School. So they avoided the league tournament. The league tournament was held at Corbett. Yamhill Carleton defeated Warrenton in the first game of the tournament on Saturday, and then the Tigers were defeated by Corbett. So Corbett the 2 seed and Yamhill Carleton the 3 seed. Different this year compared to years past when Banks was part of the 4A classification. Banks no longer winning the title, clinching a top 8 spot in the state tournament. It's now based strictly on ranking. So the Braves ranked 14th, headed into the state playoffs. So they host the 17 seed Douglas Trojans. Corbett will be at Burns, and Yamhill Carleton, as we mentioned earlier, will be at Valley Catholic of Beaverton. If Banks wins tonight, they'll be at Santiam Christian on Saturday. No time yet determined for that match. That will be decided after tonight's outcome. Again, if Banks loses, we will be at Valley Catholic versus Yamhill Carleton. Saturday at 2. If Banks wins, we will be at Santiam Christian. If Banks beats Santiam Christian on Saturday, they would play either Corbett or Burns in the third game of the day at Springfield High School. That would be the C bracket, I believe, next Thursday in Springfield, east of Eugene. We're going to go ahead and step aside now for just a moment and switch over to public address. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes. And we're back ready for the first serve of tonight's match between the Banks Braves and the Douglas Trojans. 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball first round, audio only. We will only be allowed one more volleyball broadcast. If the Braves win, it will be at Santiam Christian on Saturday, just north of Corvallis. If the Braves lose, we will broadcast Yamhill Carleton's second round match at Valley Catholic. We are unable to bring you video of any kind through the state playoffs that we are able to broadcast. If the Braves do advance past Santiam Christian, they will play Friday and Saturday at Springfield High School, east of the Willamette, east of I-5, near Eugene. Got you the rosters earlier for both teams. The OSAA is going digital with Hometown Ticketing, the official ticketing partner of the OSAA. Access tickets for all first round through state championship finals via the OSAA website or OSAA Live app. Order your tickets in advance and present your digital ticket at the gate. It's convenient, paperless, and easy to use. Visit osaa.org/tickets for more information or to purchase tickets online. Banks will be in their home white uniforms, navy blue numerals, navy blue pointed almost Dracula style lettering across the shoulder blades, with Banks in very small print, navy blue shorts. Douglas in their crimson uniforms, black trim. Trojans in short lettering, and the first serve from Haley Evans is returned by the Trojans. Evans near side to Maller, returned, dug out by the Trojans. Battle at the net that time, won by Madison Walker, and the Braves have the first point of the night early in the first set. Serve again from Haley Evans is short down the near side. Returned by the Trojans off the first touch. Returned by Van Aken, set across the net far side. Returned back. Too much that time on the kill from Maddie Walker, and Douglas has tied it early in the first set at 1 after too much that time from Katie Rains to handle, and it goes into the back wall. First serve for Douglas is Maddie Walker, far side. Saunders to Evans, back to Saunders out of the far back corner. Banks High School gym runs east and west. Banks to our right on the west end of the court. Douglas to our left on the east side. Popped up off the return from Banks by Kniebel. Returned by Crozier. Near side, nice save by Katie Rains. Returned out of the back row by Saunders. Near back corner, picked up by Wilson. Far side, Kniebel pops it over the net. Evans far side gets it to Maddie Walker, but tipped and recovered by Douglas. Out of the back row, Walker again gets it across. Evans near side to Maller, sets it back far side to Van Aken. Into the back row, popped up by the libero Mandera. Returned by Jasmine Gunderson, short into the net, and the Braves have the lead back early at 2-1 in the first set. Served by Katie Rains is low. Dug out, though, by Douglas. Returned by Gunderson, but we're going to have a hitting error on Douglas. And Banks now has a 2-point advantage at 3-1 early in the first set. Serve from Katie Rains is deep. Douglas probably should have let it go, but it's played by Brooklyn Wilson. Returned out of the back row by Mandera. And it's going to be long as we have official back line judges for state playoffs. 4-1 Banks, and Katie Rains holding serve for the Braves. Tonight's libero, and that one comes up short into the top of the net. Side out back to Douglas, trailing 4-2. And misplayed by Katie Rains off the serve from Gunderson. Back-to-back points for Douglas to pull back within one at 4-3 early. Serve again from Gunderson. Reigns this time far back corner, picks it up cleanly. Evans near side to Janasek into the back row, popped up by Wilson. Walker returned by Gunderson. Reigns and Evans nearly come together center of the court. Returned by Saunders, angled across the net. Walker over the top, popped up by Kniebel. Back and forth. Braves pick it up. Van Aken angles it beautifully far side as the defense had shifted to the far side to the home section, and Van Aken angled it beautifully to our near side, the visitor's side, and Banks up 5-3. Serve from Madison Walker is misplayed by Douglas, and now quickly the Braves are up 6-3 early in the first set. Again, this is the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round between the Coastal Range League champion Banks Braves and the fourth place Far West League finishers, the Douglas Trojans of Winston, just south of Roseburg. Maddie Walker returns it for Douglas. Evans back sets to Van Aken. Off the block of Corey Boyd for another point for the Braves, and starting to gain some control early, back up 4 again at 7-3. Madison Walker holding serve far side, and this one too much mustard on her hot dog at lunchtime, and Banks gives a point back to the Trojans on the service error, still leading 7-4. OSAA Today is your spot for all high school state championship coverage. From news, stories, coaches, polls, and more. Get it all by visiting OSAA Today. Go to osaa.org/today. The serve from Douglas, returned by Van Aken down the far side. Douglas dives to the floor to keep it alive, and it's returned long by Samantha Crozier. Douglas, I think, calling for a touch. They're not going to get it. Banks back to a 4-point advantage at 8-4. Serve from Van Aken is picked up by the Trojans. Returned by Cambry Lee far side. Evans back sets it beautifully right down the line over her back. No look, and it's 9-4. Braves have their largest lead of the match early. Serve from Van Aken near side, popped up by the Trojans. Kniebel gets it back, or Walker actually. Evans blocked by Saunders, and returned by Douglas, gets a hand on it and knocks it into the back row. Braves can't track it down. Set out back to Douglas, back within 5, within 4, trailing 9-5. Serve from the Trojans, Samantha Crozier. Oh, Janasek with an incredible return or save out of the bleachers from the far side net pole to just keep it back in play, but Madison Walker comes up short out of the back row on the third attempt, and the Trojans again back-to-back points, trailing 9-6. The serve from Samantha Crozier. Walker for the Braves. Evans near side to Saunders into the back row, picked up by Samantha Crozier for the Trojans. Center of the front row, Corey Boyd. Van Aken dives into the student section, and Douglas on a little bit of a run now, 3 in a row, to pull back within 2 at 9-7. Again, local sponsors will try to get you as many of your ads as we can, but we are required to play OSAA spots in state playoff games. Returned by Maddie Walker for the Trojans. Evans near side sets up Janasek. Into the back row, finds a hole near backside. Mandera, the libero, can't get over in time, and a big side out for the Braves ends the Douglas run. 10-7, side out back to Banks. Serving, Marissa Herbert comes in for the Braves. Center of the back row, right between the low blocks in the key. And Douglas gets it across Corey Boyd. And late communication, too late for Herbert to come out of the back row. Saunders and Herbert, nobody called it, and too late for Herbert to get there. Another side out back to Douglas, trailing 10-8. Serve from Mandera, far side. Evans out of the back row, and that's going to go behind the Braves bench. Douglas has scored 4 out of the last 5 points, and they're back within 1 at 10-9. Braves kind of falling into some old habits with some communication issues. Mandera, the libero, to serve for the Trojans. Evans nearly collides with Saunders. Blocked by Douglas, near side center, Maddie Walker, and it's blocked out of bounds. Near side in front of the scorers table. And Douglas Cass come all the way back to tie it at 10. Braves had a 9-4 lead a moment ago. And the serve this time is long from, I believe, Mandera. And Banks gets the lead back, 11-10. Alex Saunders serving from the very far near side, out of the back corner. Evans pops it over and lobbed it right across the net, just like a pass offensively. And number 3 for Douglas, Cambry Lee, took a swing and a miss, and the Braves back to a 2-point lead at 12-10. The serve from Alex Saunders. Side out back to Douglas. Van Aken dives, and we're going to get a hitting error on Douglas. Trojans thought they had picked up the point. Banks with a 13-10 lead. Again, the serve from Alex Saunders, well short, trying to pick up a low arcing serve and catch Douglas off guard. Side out back to the Trojans, trailing by 2, 13-11. Serve from Cambry Lee is long, 14-11. Side out back to the Braves on the service error from Douglas. Serve from Evans for the Braves. Just kind of pushed it across the net using the heels of her hands. Returned by the Braves. Near side to Gunderson. Down the near side. Just wide in front of the Braves bench. And 15-11. Braves, since it was tied at 10, have responded with 5 out of the last 6 points. Evans again the serve, far side. Mandera and Crozier and Cadence Kniebel come together and almost trap the ball. And it's 16-11 Braves. Haley Evans' serve popped way into the air by Douglas, returned by Maddie Walker. Rains out of the back row, the Braves libero. Madison Walker for the Braves. Blocked, and Douglas isn't going to be able. That's 4 hits! Douglas got away with one, but the Braves are going to pick up the point anyway. And these OSAA officials allowed Corbett to get away with 4 hits. But the Braves still come up with a point and now make it 7 out of 8. Braves running away now late in the first set, 17-11. Haley Evans, her serve is picked up by the Trojans, returned by Mandera. Saunders out of the back row. Evans to Van Aken, popped up by Mandera out of the back row again. Return, and we're going to get a rotation issue on some kind of error on Douglas. Banks, 8 out of the last 9 points. Douglas needs a timeout. They'll take one. Banks 18, Corbett 11. We'll take a 30-second break and be back after this from On Point.
What's stopping you from going to school and learning new things? Or buying an old car to make it new again? Do you dream about building a business, exploring new places, or even buying your very first home? Whatever you're trying to do, On Point Community Credit Union can help you do it. With low-interest loans, credit cards, business banking, and more. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
And we're back, 18-11 Banks in the first set. The 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round between the Coastal Range League champs, the Banks Braves, and the Douglas Trojans. the fourth place finishers from the Far West League out of Winston, just south of Roseburg. Haley Evans, her serve, Mandera going low to keep it off the floor, and somehow Douglas gets it across the net, and Banks scrambling defensively somehow gets it back across. Evans sets up Van Aken near side, dug out by Mandera back row. Gunderson, returned by Douglas. Rains, Evans again. Walker for the Braves comes back to take it away from Van Aken. Douglas gets it back across. Evans, again, this time sets up Mallard. Faked it to Walker, thought she was going to have the return attempt. Crozier gets it back across for the Trojans. Rains out of the back row. Evans sets up Van Aken. Douglas scrambling far side, tripping over their teammates. And we're going to get a hitting error on Douglas. And head coach Leslie Wilson just slams her clipboard to the floor. Her pen goes flying into the air. She's upset. Her team is not getting any calls, and it's 19-11 Banks. Again, Haley Evans holding serve. Returned by Douglas after the first touch. Rains to Evans. Sets up Walker over the top and hung on the net. Couldn't quite get it back across, but that'll end the run of 9 out of 10 for the Braves. And side out back to Douglas, trailing 19-12. At one point, this first set was tied at 10. Banks went on a run of 9 out of 10 points before that last one couldn't sneak over the net off the return from Madison Walker. The serve from Maddie Walker for Douglas. Evans near side to Van Aken. Popped up out of the back row by Maddie Walker for the Trojans. Far side to Samantha Crozier. Returned by Douglas. Walker at the front row, and it's going to be blocked out of bounds near side. Quick side out back to Banks. 20-12 in the first set. Serve from Katie Rains is long. Side out back to Douglas, trailing 20-13. Serving for Douglas will be Jasmine Gunderson. Popped up out of the back row by the Braves. Evans near side to Janicek. Into the back row far corner, right to Maddie Walker. And again, we're going to get a hitting error on Douglas, 21-13 Braves. And near side, net official checking on something with the Braves bench, and this one is going to go. Ooh, nice effort by Mandera. She goes flying into the bleachers behind her own bench, but can't keep the ball back in play. She's okay, but love the defensive intensity from the Douglas libero Mandera. 22-13 Braves. Serve again from Madison Walker. Oh, Trojans diving to the floor, get it back across. Amazingly, Saunders just wide down the far side. Side out back to Douglas, trailing now 22-14. Serve from Lily Winters. Janicek to Evans. Set up beautifully for Saunders over the top. And I think they're going to get Douglas for another error. 23-14. Side out back to Banks. And Braves about to put Douglas away here in the first set. The serve from Van Aken. Bandera out of the center of the back row. And a couple of Trojans come together. And unable to trace it down or track it down, Cambry Lee comes racing up to the net. Braves with set point up 24-14 in the first over Douglas of Winston. The serve from Van Aken. Picked up this time by Walker, returned by Walker out of the back row. Rains to Evans for the Braves. Sets up Saunders. Tipped at the net. And Walker misplays it. It's going to... First set will go to Banks, 25-14. We'll take a 2-minute break and be back after this from Pacific Office Automation.
For over 45 years, Pacific Office Automation has been solving problems for business owners. However, the needs of our customers and potential customers have changed dramatically over the years, so we've changed too. If you run a business and want to find out how Pacific Office Automation can help improve your business processes and costs, call us today to request a free workflow audit. Whether it's managed print services, IT services, or data security, we're here to help. PacificOffice.com. Problem solved.
Thinking about buying or selling a home? Sarah Hesselman, Realtor with Keller Williams Realty, will help you with your real estate needs. Call 503-313-0748 or email Sarah at sarahhesselman.com. Serving your community daily and proud to support the starting lineup of your Banks Braves. Sarah Hesselman, Realtor with Keller Williams Realty. Call 503-313-0748.
Rankings are important numbers in determining Oregon high school playoffs. So are rankings when choosing a lender to help you with purchasing or refinancing your home. Our local community home loan expert, Christy Van Meter at Caliber Home Loans, is ready to help you win the day. Call Christy today for all of your home loan needs at 503-327-5302 or caliberhomeloans.com/kvanmeter. Christy Van Meter, NMLS number 1700271, state licensed in Oregon, an equal housing lender. All products are subject to credit and property approval.
Proudly serving our neighbors in Washington County since 1946, LaHaye's is your destination for locally made Letterman's jackets, custom embroidery for business apparel or a unique gift, and scouting uniforms and supplies. LaHaye's is on the corner of 3rd and Main in historic downtown Hillsboro. Open Wednesday through Friday, 10 to 6, Saturday, 10 to 4, and anytime online at lahayes.com or call us at 503-648-2341.
And we're back, set number 2. Banks winning the first set 25-14. This is the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round between the Banks Braves and the Douglas Trojans of Winston. A couple of things Douglas is known for, the Palomalu family. Troy Palomalu, longtime member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, now retired. His niece, actually, Ciala Palomalu, on this Douglas roster. Also, Winston known for Wildlife Safari, Oregon's drive-through zoo. And again, the Banks Braves come up with the first point to start the second set as well. Up 1-0. Off the serve from Douglas. Haley Evans gets the first serve for the Braves in the second set. Picked up by Maddie Walker. Returned by Walker into the center of the net. 2-0 Braves. Haley Evans, short serve, picked up by Samantha Crozier, returned by Douglas, and Rains again too much, high into the back wall to the west end of the court. And Douglas has their first point of the second set, trailing 2-1. Lily Winters' turn in the rotation for the Trojans, and it's an ace. Apparently it's ruled wide. Don't know what happened. The back line judge did not make a call. Banks now with a 3-1 lead, whistles. And I think we're going to have a somebody rotated for Banks while the ball was in the air, and that's a no-no. Side out back to Douglas, trailing 3-2. Samantha Crozier to serve for the Trojans. And Janicek, returned after the Braves had dove to the floor to keep it in play. Cambry Lee gets it across for the Trojans. Van Aken near side, sets up Walker, blocked down the near side, or far side line. It's going to stay in, and Douglas tied at 3. Was tied at 10 in the first set, and Banks went on a 15-4 run to finish the first set, and the Trojans 25-14. And Evans able to get underneath it, but Janicek can't race underneath it. It's going to go under the net, and Douglas has the lead at 4-3 in the second set. And the serve from Samantha Crozier is an ace. And Douglas has their largest lead of the night at 5-3 early in the second set. Samantha Crozier. Again, the serve. Saunders to Raines out of the back row. Janicek pushes it across near side. Lee blocked after it came off the top of the net. Returned by Janicek. Angles it far side into the back row. Set across by Douglas. Walker dumps it over the top, down the far side, getting the little sneaky move over the top of the Douglas defense, and a big side out for the Banks Braves after Douglas had won up 2 at 5-3. It's now 5-4, back to the Braves for the serve. Madison Walker far side, and too low on the toss. Douglas back to a 2-point lead at 6-4. Serve from Trojans is returned by Banks. Crozier, Mandera out of the back row. Raines pops it up and then can't get out of the way of Walker, and the ball's going to hit the floor. Braves unable to come up with the return. And again, issues that they had last year coming back to haunt them in this second set, trailing now 7-4 in the second set to Douglas. Mandera out of the back row. Raines to Walker. Near side return by Saunders. And popped it up out of the back row. Lobbed it to Saunders, and she returns it, finding a hole in the Douglas defense near side. Side out back to Banks, trailing 7-5 in the second set. Serve from Van Aken. Far corner back row. Winters returned by Douglas over the top. Saunders, and I think we're going to get... net contact from Jasmine Gunderson, 7-6. Douglas, I don't think, heard the whistle, and they kept playing. (7-6) the serve from Van Aken this time for the Braves, and coming up short, Cambry Lee tried to lift the ball across the net and missed the ball entirely, and Banks has come back to tie it at 7. Van Aken far side. Cambry Lee sets up Maddie Walker, and Janicek dives to the floor and gets a hand on it, but it's going to go out of bounds between the scores table and the bench through to the bleachers. Douglas back with the lead at 8-7 in the second set. Serve from Cambry Lee for Douglas is returned by the Braves. Far side to Maddie Walker, tipped at the front net by the Braves. Evans near side to Janicek, blocked by Douglas, but they can't recover. Center back row, and tied again back to Banks on the side out. 8 apiece in the second set. Marissa Herbert again to serve for the Braves. Katie Raines, the libero, going out, and it's an ace. Brooklyn Wilson near side plays it into the bleachers across the way, bottom of the bleachers, and Banks has regained the lead in the second set at 9-8. Serve from Herbert. And again, Wilson misplays it. 10-8 Banks. Serve from Herbert. Mandera. Back sets across from Kniebel. And Braves unable to play it, and it's going to go near the back wall. 10-9. Douglas with the side out back within 1. Football coming up on Friday night, regular season finale at North Marion. Again, we'll have the broadcast for you live from Aurora. The serve that time is short from Maddie Walker. And Banks now back to a 2-point lead at 11-9 after Maddie Walker comes up short that time. Saunders near side. Her serve is wide to the far side, the opposite way. Near the southeast corner of the gym. Side out back to Douglas, trailing 11-10. Banks went on a 15-4 run about this point in the first set to put Douglas away in set number 1. And Douglas misplays it. Jasmine Gunderson got the ball caught up in her hands or something and hit the floor. A lot of effort, but not very much movement on the ball, and Banks back to a 2-point lead at 12-10 in the second. Serve from Haley Evans is short. Mandera comes up with the return on the first touch. Evans sets it up to Walker. Took it away from Van Aken far side. Mandera out of the back row. Evans the same for the Braves. Van Aken near far side. Returned by Madison Walker for the Braves. Douglas gets it back across by Maddie Walker. And yeah, McKenna King crossed the center line and side out back to Douglas. 12-11. Lily Winters will serve for the Trojans. Just inside the left side of the key. Evans sets up Walker. Oh, blocked. Oh, and off of Van Aken. Braves get it back across the net somehow. Far side, and we're going to get a hitting error on Douglas. Side out back to Banks, leading 13-11. Janasek will come in for Herbert, who was serving a moment ago. Katie Raines, the libero, will do the honors from just inside the left low block. And misplayed by Winters. Samantha Crozier doing her best to keep it off the floor, knocks it back to Winters, and again she struggles with the ball. 14-11 Braves in the second. Raines the serve for Banks. Returned by Cambry Lee far side into the net. 15-11 Banks. And we may have a timeout from Douglas coming very quickly. Serve from Raines. Far side back row. Maddie Walker for Douglas. Returned by Corey Boyd. Janasek to Evans. Back to Janasek near side. Dug off the floor by Maddie Walker. Near side into the back row. Saunders misplays it. Samantha Crozier with the kill for Douglas. Back within 3 at 15-12. Serve from Samantha Crozier. Braves able to keep it off the floor, and Van Aken gets the return. Diving to the floor, Cambry Lee gets it across but wide to the far side. 16-12 Banks. And serve from Madison Walker. Douglas scrambling defensively, comes up with the return. Saunders over the top. Down the far side, just across the net. Again, finding a hole in the Douglas defense, 17-12. Serve from Madison Walker low. Mandera, though, gets underneath it. Returned by Corey Boyd, and it's long off the return by Douglas. Again, Banks took the lead at 11-10. It's been 7-2 since that point. Serve from Madison Walker is returned by Mandera. Janicek near side. Evans sets up Saunders, blocked, and Saunders able to stick a hand up out of reflex, and not much the Braves can do with it. Side out back to Douglas, trailing 18-13. Mandera to serve far back corner. Rains. Van Aken keeps it alive from near the student section, returned by the Braves. Lee, and it's going to be returned long by Douglas. Not sure why Douglas came off the bench like they thought they had won the point. Maybe they thought it was touched. It's 19-13. Van Aken the serve for Banks, and it's dumped over by Maddie Walker. Evans sets up Saunders over the top, but Douglas is ready for it into the back row. Walker and Rains and Saunders nearly come together. Again, no communication. And side out back to Douglas, trailing 19-14. Their point total for the first set. Cambry Lee near side, just outside the key. Van Aken to Evans, sets up Janicek far side. Back row Mandera for the Trojans. And Douglas is going to get called for a lift from Cambry Lee, 20-14. Side out back to the Braves. And coming in to serve for the first time tonight, Chesney Lovelady. And serve is long, side out back to Douglas, 20-15. Want to stay in shape, be involved in a sport you love, and earn money in the process? Become an athletic official. There's a shortage of officials in Oregon, and we need you now more than ever. Visit osaa.org/officials for more information and to get registered. The serve from Maddie Walker for the Trojans is picked up by the Braves. Returned by Madison Walker. Douglas gets it back across the net. Returned by the Braves. Off the top of the net for the kill. Samantha Crozier, 20-16. Douglas back within 4. Set number 2, 2022 OSAA On Point. 3A Volleyball Championship first round between Banks and Douglas at Banks High School. Lovelady out of the far back corner. Returned by Van Aken out of the back row for the Braves. Mandera returned by Walker for Douglas. Van Aken far side to Evans. Sets up Saunders, center of the front row. Douglas gets it back across the net by Walker. Van Aken far side. Evans to McKenna King. Battle at the net, won by McKenna King that time. And Douglas bench calling for a hitting error on the Braves, but not going to get it. It's 21-16. Saunders again serving it near side corner into the back row. Too much that time for Jasmine Gunderson. 22-16, timeout Douglas. So Banks already up 1-0, 25-14, leading 22-16 in the second set. That'll give us time to get a little more housekeeping duties taken care of. We'll be back after this from On Point.
What's stopping you from going to school and learning new things? Or buying an old car to make it new again? Do you dream about building a business, exploring new places, or even buying your very first home? Whatever you're trying to do, On Point Community Credit Union can help you do it. With low-interest loans, credit cards, business banking, and more. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
And we're back. 22-16, Banks leading in the second set of the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round. The serve that time, I think from Chesney Lovelady. Oh no, it's Alex Saunders is long. Side out back to Douglas, 22-17. They trail. Serve from number 8, Jasmine Gunderson for Dayton, returned by Corey Boyd. After the Braves get it across, Van Aken out of the back row far side. McKenna King on the return for Banks. Gunderson dives to the floor, and Douglas can't dig it off the bottom of the net, 23-17. Side out back to Banks, and right now, Banks looks way over. Looks like they're way over, have the overmatch over Douglas. Banks thought they had came up with the point, but it's actually going to go to Douglas, trailing 23-18. Serve from Lily Winters. Walker gets it back from Evans, far side. Returned into the back row beautifully by Samantha Crozier. And Douglas within 4, 23-19. Serve from Lily Winters for Douglas. Rains out of the back row. Evans. And it's going to be one at the net for Douglas. Corey Boyd, and here come the Trojans, now down just 3 late in the second set at 23-20. Serve from Lily Winters. Saunders far side. Evans sets up Walker. Too much that time for the near side defense from Cambry Lee along the front row for Douglas. And it's set point for the Braves in the second set up 24-20. Katie Rains to do the honors for the Braves, looking to go up 2-0. Chesney Lovelady will come out. Rains' serve is low, but gets across. Returned by Walker for Douglas, and Saunders comes racing up, and as the ball roll at her feet, Douglas gets the big side out back late, 24-21. Returned by Van Aken, far side for the second set, 25-21. Douglas a better effort than the first set, but Banks up 2-0. 25-14, 25-21. We'll take another 2-minute break and be back after this from the Banks Post newspaper.
Banks Post newspaper is the official news provider of West Side's greatest hits. Listen hourly for West Side news from the Banks Post newsroom. Banks Post newspaper covers Banks, Manning, Buxton, Roy, and surrounding western Washington County communities. If you'd like more information on the Banks Post or want to pick up a copy, visit a local business today. You can also visit their website at bankspost.com or their Facebook page, Banks Post.
Do you or someone you know own a business? As a local business ourselves, we know how important daily operations are, which is why we offer small dollar business loans for equipment, building upgrades, machinery, and more. The credit union even provides employee benefits for business members. Learn more at wanafcu.org or ask to speak with a commercial team member today. Again, to learn more, visit wanafcu.org.
Visit Main Street Pizza in Banks, located next to Jim's Market, for the best pizza in Washington County. From loaded hot baked subs to a Main Street special pizza piled high, we will satisfy your pizza cravings. We've been serving and supporting the Banks community since 1986. Open daily at 11 a.m. Call ahead now to place your order at 503-324-5858 or follow us on Facebook to see our daily lunch specials. Mention this radio ad and receive $2 off any Main Street pizza.
Scoggins Creek Coffee is proud to offer delicious hot drinks and delectable breakfast items too. Visit their 2 locations in Gaston and Yamhill Carlton. Open 7 days a week, Mondays through Saturdays until 5 and Sundays until 3. Make sure to ask about their weekly specials and visit their Facebook page. Scoggins Creek Coffee, 503-985-3483.
Dear gas prices, Toyota is the #1 retail brand for electrified vehicles for 22 years. That says it all. Toyota hybrids. Find yours at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer estimates, CY 2000 through 2021 sales.
And we're back, start of the third set. Banks up 2 sets to none, 25-14, 25-21, and start the third set with the first point as well. Haley Evans again starting the service rotation for the Braves, and it's off Mandera into the bottom of the bleachers, and the Banks Braves now quickly up 2-0 in the third set. Evans from the far side. And Douglas diving to the floor, gets it across. Mandera comes racing out of the back row. And Van Aken returns it long. 2-1. Douglas again with their first point of the third set. Serve from Gunderson for the Trojans, and Van Aken, I think, came in contact with the center line, but got away with it. Evans near side, returned by Maller, popped away into the air by Madison Walker, and that's going to go near the cupcake table, selling cupcakes as a fundraiser for breast cancer awareness. Banks now up 3-1. Purchase your official state championship merchandise at OSAA store.com with Rush Team Apparel, the exclusive merchandise partner of the OSAA. You have more options. Customize your gear with your school name, a student athlete name, event decals, and more. Nike products are also available. Browse the selection of official state championships at OSAAstore.com. Serve from the Braves goes long as they got the side out. 3-2 now. Douglas back within 1. The serve from Lily Winters for Douglas, returned by the Braves. Cambry Lee, and Saunders misplays it. Far side returned by Douglas, tied at 3 in the third set. And again, the serve from Lily Winters. Evans sets up Walker right in the face of Maddie Walker near back row, and almost got a bloody lip. Looked like it could have even hit her in the neck. And side out back to Banks for 3. She's okay. Madison Walker again to serve. Mandera, center of the back row. Near side coming to get it, Crozier. And far side, 3 Trojan players come together and look at each other. Nobody makes contact with the ball, and it's 5-3 Banks in the third set. Serve from Madison Walker. It's going to go into the bottom of the bleachers. Trojans can't track it down. 6-3. Dear style, efficiency, and performance, glad we're on the same team this season and every season. Let's keep huddling up and going for it. Toyota, let's go places. The serve from Madison Walker. is returned into the net by Mandera. It's now 7-3, 4 straight off the serve from Madison Walker for the Braves. Again, the serve short, tipped at the net, and Douglas defense. Cambry Lee screaming at her teammates. Mandera can't get to it, and it's 8-3 Braves in the third. Mandera low out of the back row, returned by Douglas. Saunders at the net, blocked it, and then can't get out of her own way. Oh no, it's going to go to the Braves. Leading 9-3. I think they got Douglas for some kind of error. And the serve from Madison Walker. Maddie Walker, returned by Mandera out of the back row, slipped as she tries to get it across the net. Timeout, Douglas. Banks 9, Douglas 3. Banks about to advance to the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball second round at Santiam Christian, up 9-3 in the third set, 2-0. We'll be back after this final 30-second break for On Point.
What's stopping you from going to school and learning new things? Or buying an old car to make it new again? Do you dream about building a business, exploring new places, or even buying your very first home? Whatever you're trying to do, On Point Community Credit Union can help you do it. With low-interest loans, credit cards, business banking, and more. On Point. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
And we're back. Banks up 9-3 in the third set. Serving for the Braves, Madison Walker, far back corner. Couple of steps behind the line. Mandera barely able to keep it off the floor, but Douglas comes up with the return. Evans angles it near side. Picked up by Lily Winters, and we're going to get a hitting error on Douglas. 10-3 Banks in the third. For over 45 years, Pacific Office Automation has remained locally owned and operated, supporting the community and people in places that matter. That's why Pacific Office Automation continues to sponsor the OSAA year after year. Pacific Office Automation, problem solved, and off the serve, it's an ace from Madison Walker, making contact with the back line. Douglas let it go. It's now 12-3. Back and forth, picked up by Cambry Lee, returned by Douglas. Van Aken off the net far side, gets it back from Evans. Blocked at the net, but Corey Boyd and Samantha Crozier come together, and it's 13-3. Banks looking way underranked at this point. Serve from Madison Walker, another ace far side corner. 14-3 in the third set. Mandera out of the back corner, kept alive by Crozier, returned by Corey Boyd. Van Aken to Evans, back sets, popped up by Crozier for the Trojans. Blocked at the net by Saunders, and the Trojans can't recover far side. It's 15-3. Walker. And out of the back row, returned by the Braves. Walker gets it to Evans across the net. Maddie Walker for the Trojans returns it for Douglas. Van Aken across for the Braves far side, and a couple of Trojans knock it into the net pole, trying to pull it back and unable to do so. 16-3 in the third set. Walker far side. Again, a low serve, but Maddie Walker gets it across on the return. Too much. 17-3. No, we're not playing football, but it is a football score in the third set. Banks running away from Douglas in set number 3. That time, Madison Walker comes up short. Douglas finally puts another point on the board, up 17-4. Trojans just running out of gas. Serve from Samantha Crozier low. Janicek Evans sets up Saunders, dumps it over, and we're going to get a hitting error on the Braves, 17-5. Return by Janasek. Crozier across for the Braves. Janasek near side. Evans back sets to Van Aken opposite side. And Trojans high into the air. It's going to go back near the back wall. 18-5. And Banks in control late in the third set. Janasek, again a low serve, returned by the Trojans, and Saunders dumps it over. It goes underneath the net from Cambry Lee. Another timeout from Douglas. Well, that'll give us time to take care of a little more local sponsors. We'll be back in 30 seconds after this from Specialty Screen Printing.
Specialty Screen Printing in Yamhill offers your business the creativity and expertise to print your logo on a variety of items. Owners Ken and Linda Johnson have 40 years of experience on industrial parts and every type of material, including ceramic tile. Their fast service can have your project done in less than a week. Visit their website, specialtyscreenprinting.com, to see for yourself how they can help you boost your company's marketing and industrial screen printing needs. Call 971-998-9274 or visit their website, specialtyscreenprinting.com.
And we're back 18-5. Banks in the third set. The 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships first round. Banks versus Douglas of Winston. The serve from McCraw, Morgan McCraw. And Banks gets it across down the far side, 19-5, after Douglas had come up with the return off the serve. Again, McCraw, short, coming up to the net. Returned by Douglas. Banks gets it across. Saunders over the top and has a block back in her face by Corey Boyd, 19-6. Douglas still a long ways away, though, from getting back in this third set. On Point Community Credit Union is a proud sponsor of the OSAA State Championship. On Point is Oregon's largest locally headquartered credit union, serving more than 495,000 members. Visit onpointcu.com. On Point is federally insured by the NCUA. Equal housing opportunity. And now back-to-back points for Douglas, still trailing 19-7. And the serve from Mandera, and Douglas on a little bit of a run, now trailing 20-8, three straight. Again, the serve from Mandera. Van Aken keeps it alive, reigns back across the net for the Braves. And returned by Gunderson for Douglas. Evans back to Saunders, center of the front row, popped up, and we have a whistle. And we're going to have an error on Douglas, 21-8. For over 45 years, Pacific Office Automation has remained locally owned and operated, supporting the community and people in places that matter. That's why Pacific Office Automation continues to sponsor the OSAA year after year. Pacific Office Automation, problem solved. And Douglas calling for a touch. They're not going to get it. Banks up 22-8. Serve from Marissa Herbert. Douglas blocked at the net, and I think it's a hitting error on Douglas, 23-8. Dear style, efficiency, and performance. Glad we're on the same team this season and every season. Let's keep huddling up and going for it. Toyota, let's go places. We'll huddle up again on Friday night for the final regular season game of the season. Banks undefeated at North Marion of Aurora. Far side returned by Dayton, Douglas by Gunderson. Saunders hits it across for the Braves. Evans, near side to Sidney Maller. And battle at the net, won by Sidney Maller. For Jordan Maller, and it's 24-8, match point for Banks in the third set. Serve from Marissa Herbert. Returned by Douglas. Herbert to Evans. Saunders. Douglas fighting for the last, what could be the last point, but they'll live to see at least one more as it's returned by Samantha Crozier into the center of the Braves defense with a crater-sized hole, and it's now 24-9. Evans sets up Saunders, angled it far side, back corner wide, 24-10. Back-to-back points for Douglas. Serve from Cambry Lee is returned by Jordan Maller into the back row. Mandera to Lee. Far side returned by Maddie Walker. Jordan Maller to Evans. Maller gets it back, blocked out of bounds near side, and the Braves will advance to the second round of the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championships at Santiam Christian on Saturday. Time to be determined. We'll keep you updated on that on social media. Banks with a 3-set sweep, 25-14, 25-21, 25-10. We'll get you one more local break before we sign off and say goodnight. But first, as the title sponsor of the OSAA State Championships, On Point does everything it can to help our team and community, and that goes, I know, all across the state, in communities and teams all across Oregon get ahead. On Point delivers the local banking and lending its members need to reach their goals and make more possible. Visit On Point at onpointcu.com. On Point is federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity. We'll take a final 2-minute break and wrap things up when we come back. Final score, Banks defeats Douglas in 3 sets, 25-14, 25-21, 25-10. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
There's a new premier fiber internet provider in Vernonia featuring friendly and helpful customer service. Sign up with Gorge Networks today for symmetrical speed fiber internet, 300 meg or 1 gig speeds with managed Wi-Fi included in the low monthly price. No contracts or price increases. Refer a friend and get a free month of service. Make the switch to Gorge Networks today. Call 541-436-0223. You can also email us at sales@gorge.net.
Hey Brave fans, this is Chris Lyda, the voice of the Braves, here to tell you about Econofab Buildings. Econofab is a third-generation family-owned and operated pole building company located right here in Brave Country. Econofab has been in business for almost 50 years, constructing shops, garages, and barns. I had them build my 2 shops, and as a satisfied and repeat customer, I'm here to tell you that Econofab puts the fab in fabulous. Go visit them online at econofabbuildings.com.
In Likeness of You offers caricatures, face painting, temporary tattoos, indoor and outdoor games, arcade games, and even costume hero birthday events. Since 2013, they've even held corporate events for some of the biggest companies in the world. For more information or to book your next party, go to inlikenessofyou.com, thebash.com, or call 503-858-0164. That's 503-858-0164.
The Army National Guard plays a vital role in your community. We're on the front lines supporting essential personnel, first responders, law enforcement, and medical professionals, delivering food, supplies, and medicine, keeping communities safe, making a difference. During emergencies, we're always ready, always there. Learn more about part-time service in the Army National Guard at nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Oregon Army National Guard, aired by the Oregon Association of Broadcasters and this station.
And we're back. The Banks Braves will live to see at least one more match in the 2022 OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championship playoffs, as they'll head to Santiam Christian, just north of Corvallis, tiny village known as Adair Village, located between Monmouth and Corvallis as you're headed up 99 W coming north. Banks will improve to 17-6. Douglas will see their season come to an end at 11 wins and 13 losses. So that'll do it for us. Again, Banks sweeps Douglas 25-14, 25-21, 25-10. Our next broadcast will be Friday night at North Marion in Aurora, as the Banks Braves try to go 5 straight seasons without a loss in league play, and this year it hasn't really been close. They've allowed a total of 9 points, and those 9 came in their season opening win at home, in their league opener at home over Warrenton, 24-9. That'll do it for us. I'm Trevor Beard, voice of Westside High School Athletics. Thanks for joining us for tonight's broadcast of the OSAA On Point 3A Volleyball Championship first round. We hope to have you join us on Friday night. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday evening. Good night, and God bless.
Thank you for listening to this OSAA On Point Community Credit Union State Championship event. Serving more than 480,000 members, On Point Community Credit Union is the largest locally headquartered credit union and the proud title sponsor of OSAA State Championships. Your local Toyota dealers are proud to support the OSAA. Visit Toyota.com or your local Toyota dealer today. Toyota, let's go places. The OSAA Radio Network is presented by Pacific Office Automation. Problems